Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the number one most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
Kids, listen to your mother.
Mom!
Welcome to Between Us Moms with Katie Crafts-Morg and Hallie Stevens-Drake.
Hey, mamas, and welcome to Between Us Moms. Thank you so much for being here. It's Katie and Hallie. If you're new here, thanks for being here. If you're a returning listener, we appreciate you. We love you. Let's kick things off. Hallie, Cliff Notes, what is going on in your life?
All right, here's what we've got. As I've mentioned before, I'm officially off Lexapro from my postpartum anxiety. Things are going well. However, I am crying about everything.
Wow.
Everything. Tears are readily available. And this has shown up as I watched Love is Blind. Andrew looked over at me and said, "Are you fucking crying?" And I was like, "Yeah, leave me alone." I don't even remember what it was, but let me assure you, whatever was happening on screen did not warrant actual tears. Alas, I was crying.
Wait,
Then,
what part of Love is Blind this
honestly,
season?
let me tell you, we're still in Mexico. So
Oh,
for
wow.
us, it doesn't really feel like there should have been tears. Whatever was happening, I can't recall, but I know it was not worthy of tears, and I scared myself with my tears.
I'm
I was
surprised
shocked.
because this season is like literally a hot mess.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is a dumpster fire. Anyway, there was that, and we had to get rid of a tree in our yard. I was sad about this, knowing that this was going to happen pre getting off Lexapro. I
A
had
weeping willow.
literally, I was the weeping willow outside holding a literal funeral for this tree. We had to
Wow.
take it down, so don't come at me. We had to do it. The roots were digging up our driveway and pulling water towards the house. It was a threat to our foundation. It was very sad, but this was a very old tree, and I was devastated. Yeah, I was literally out there like playing a mini violin, crying, watching them do it. The poor guys, like taking down the tree, were like, "Is this woman unwell?" The answer is yes, I am unwell, but I am actually very happy to have my feelings back. So we're there. I'm crying at everything. So if anyone needs someone to cry with, I'm your girl. I've got those tears ready.
Oh,
The next thing I want to talk about is family photos. We took our first ever full family photo with my sister and brother-in-law and her kids and my parents and my whole family. And it is the most chaotic, insane clusterfuck I've ever experienced in my entire life. But I'm very excited to see how these photos turn out. I want to pull this clip out, post it to social media, and I want everyone listening to swoop in with comments of any tips you have for making photo day run smoother, because this is the time we are all about to take our Christmas pictures. And when you have kids and you're trying to corral cats, that shit is not for the weak. I fell asleep last night at 7:30 on the couch watching again Love is Blind with Andrew because I was spent.
good for you guys for taking pictures.
Thank you.
What we are doing this year, and it's different when you're doing the whole family. I remember last year we did the whole family, and yeah, it was a cluster. I mean, my oldest daughter, Kaya, would not let me put her down. Emma was a tiny little baby. She was crying because she also wanted mommy, and then she had to sit in Grammy's lap, and then Jason was trying to help me with Kaya, and then one of the kids was running away. It was like a whole thing, but the photographers are professionals. They've
Totally.
seen this. They are good. I was amazed at how many great family photos we got. I don't know if you noticed this in our house, but Kaya
hmm
last year would not take a single photo without holding her string cheese.
Oh, yeah. Emotional
So,
support string cheese. Of course.
yes.
Why? Of course. hmm
So I have a picture hanging in our home, and it is her holding her string cheese in every single
Yeah.
picture.
Uh-huh.
So we're doing it again this year because I want those memories. I want to see the progression of like growth of our family, but also it's expensive. So I
Yeah.
asked our photographer, I was like, "Do you do mini sessions?" And she doesn't. She's like, "But why don't you split the hour with another family?"
Great.
So that's what we're doing. I was like, "My kids
Smart.
can't last past 30 minutes doing this. It's already later at night. It's like during sundown or whatever for the magic hour, as they
Yes.
call it." And she's like, "Let's split an hour and then you get 30 minutes and you're still going to get like all the, your good photos, but then you're not asking your children to like take
Last for a full
pictures for,
hour.
yes."
Yeah, Dylan was over it at the end. We had a very similar situation. Dylan has a toy camera, and
Mm.
we were talking about taking family photos. And she's like, I'm going to bring my neon green, non-aesthetic toy camera, and I'm going to take our family photos. Guess what's in the first half of photos?
Oh.
Neon green toy camera. So I feel you on the string cheese. Perhaps we can edit it out. But I do want moms listening who have had success, learned tips and tricks, share it here. Let's help each other out. Let's help the moms listening. And then I have one last little thing that I want to share. I have a book club. We put air quotes up because sometimes we read the books, sometimes we don't, but with my girlfriends here. And it is something I look forward to every other month. We meet every other month because we are in community together. We are face to face. We're talking about things that matter. We live in Chicago, so we are very much seeing the impact of ICE in our neighborhood. They've showed
Mm.
up, they've come after friends' nannies. We try not to talk about politics here. It feels a little irresponsible to ignore the fact that I am living in a city that is being impacted heavily, and it weighs heavy, heavy on my heart as a mom, as a human being, to watch what is happening in this city. And being together and being able to laugh together and cry together at the same time felt so good. And I want to give everyone listening a homework assignment. Get together with your people, do what Katie's mom does and have a come as you are. Don't feel like you have to put a bra on. Don't put makeup on. Come as you are, be together, even if it's for an hour after the kids go to bed, and talk about what's really happening in your life. Because if we're all just trying to keep up with each other on social media, we're not getting the real
Mm.
of what's going on. So
Mm.
that's my homework assignment to you listening, is to be with your people.
So
And
well said.
yeah, and I wish I could be IRL with you. But if
I
you're
know.
listening, Katie's in LA. We were work besties forever. So we got to do some real life together for a very long time, decade plus. But now we just get to see each other when I'm in town for work. But I think we're due for an IRL.
We are so due for an IRL. Our 100th episode is coming up, which
I
is
know.
so crazy. And I'm so grateful that you said that because community is so important. And if you are a mom listening and you feel like you can't get away to make that happen, like what me and Hallie do is we do this over Zoom.
There's a whole debrief of the shit that's flying in our houses prior to hitting record. So
Yes.
yeah, find your people and just like keep it real with
Talk.
each other, because we talked
Yeah.
about that Harvard study. That's the thing. Being in fellowship with each other is the thing that keeps us alive and well and living a healthy life. So if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for your babies so you can be around.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But Katie,
Yes.
that was a
Just
long cliff note. I feel like that was more of a full novel. Tell me what's going on with you.
okay. Two kind of quick things. The first is my youngest daughter, Emma, is dropping her second nap.
Mm.
And she's a little bit young, in my opinion, to be dropping that nap. But alas, here we are. She wants to be on the same schedule as her older sis. She does not want to be napping when older sis doesn't have to be. She has FOMO, as we've talked about in previous episodes. She is a frustrated baby because she wants to be older than she is. All that to say, it's actually going relatively well up until we get to almost the nap point when she somewhat just like is starting to lose it. And then at nighttime, she is extra tired. So after the
Ooh.
nap, she wakes up, she's like a joy. But then after dinner, she's a whiner. She whines and she doesn't stop whining. And it's because she's tired, but it's not quite time for bed yet because it's only like 5:30 and I can't put you down at 5:30 because then you'll wake up at 5:30 and I am not waking up at 5:30 and messing up Kaya's schedule that it's just a whole thing. And so
Yeah.
Jason said to me though, he was like, I think sometimes, you're too focused on their schedules. Like I need you to relax a little bit. And so I am working on that. But dropping the first nap is a journey. And so
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit going through it. It's hard, towards bedtime when I have a tiny little angry baby and I'm doing the best that I can, but it's hard. And then the other thing I was going to say is why is technology so effing challenging when you get a new phone?
Oh, yeah. I
I,
hate that. I'm about to do the same thing, Katie, and I'm like dreading it. I know you were telling me yesterday you were struggling. What was going on?
okay, I got this new phone.
Hmm.
Okay. My old phone was like an iPhone 13. It was like 4 years old. The battery was dying after 3 hours. I was due for an upgrade, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, transferring everything over and remembering your passwords is a mission. I don't know what my password is because you've made me select a new password so many freaking times. So, like, all my passwords are like different variations of the same thing, but I
Hmm.
can't remember which one goes to which. And then I think I'm writing them down in my notes app, but then I haven't kept up with it because who has time for that?
Right.
And I asked Jason, I was like, how do you know all your passwords? He's like, oh, I just let it select the hard one for me. And then I hit remember in my passbook. And I'm like, so you don't know any of your passwords? Like, what do you do if you die and like I'm left, I don't know any of your passwords? He's like, well, in the morgue, just put it up to my face.
Oh, no, that's too weird. I don't like it. I don't like it,
I
Jason.
I was mortified. I obviously know his like phone passcode, like we obviously share all that stuff, and I know most like what his go-to passwords are for most things, but like some obscure app, like I have no idea. Like he doesn't use Facebook. I always try to like tag him on Facebook, like when I post photos, and like the man I don't think knows his password to Facebook.
Yeah.
And I just think, why is it so freaking hard? You have to relog into everything. Yeah, you have anxiety about like, did this back up to the cloud? And like, what exactly is the cloud and how does it know? And why are some things moved over to the phone and where are they in the cloud? I just think it is beyond my comprehension potentially. And it gives me so much anxiety and I hate remembering passwords. That's it. If you
No.
also are like this, please let me know. I can't be the only one. I
Yeah.
just
When people talk about the cloud, I'm like, don't talk about it because it makes me feel it's like when people start talking about outer space. Some things I am not smart enough to understand. Know thyself. I will never understand the cloud. Like, where is the cloud? What is the cloud? No, it's outer space.
I know.
Nope. Like it just goes on forever. Like, what do you
I
mean?
know.
No, I'm not
I know.
not doing it.
Oh, there has to be a better way, though. There
You
has to be a
know?
better way to remember passwords. That's all
Sure.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm
That's
here
all.
for that. Yep. Well, when we come back, we have a lot to discuss. We're going to be talking about Cardi B and her very vulnerable interview she just did that has moms saying thank you. We're also going to be talking about giving up your financial independence when you become a stay-at-home mom. When we come back.
And we're back. It is time to talk about what it's like to give up a paycheck when you become a stay-at-home mom or a version of a stay-at-home mom. This went viral on TikTok. This mom named Jessie, she's a former entrepreneur turned stay-at-home mom, and she went viral after sharing her experience of losing financial independence when she left the workforce to focus on raising her son. It's quite the shift when you start saying our money instead of, oh, this is my paycheck, this is my bank account, this is my money. And so many moms are relating to this. And I think we can all appreciate that she was so honest about her take on what it's like to rely on your partner um, financially. And so, Hallie, I'm curious about what your feelings are on this because you left the workforce somewhat.
Hmm.
You still go to work every other week, but it's a different ball game. And honestly, you have the best of both worlds, if
I
I'm being
do.
honest. But I guess what's the conversation with Andrew and how are you guys managing money right now? Like, what is the
Sure.
vibe there?
So, if you're new here, I was working full time in entertainment news in Los Angeles. When we were deciding to have a second child, we just felt like it was time to move home. I talked to my boss. It was very much understood on both sides. Doing the full time job that I was doing really requires being in Los Angeles, but I'm also on the show. Just got bumped to 3 times a week, which is very exciting. I was 2, now it's 3, but I'm still on the show and I shoot my segments in bulk. I fly out to Los Angeles and I go every other week and we shoot those. So when I'm home, I'm fully home. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm watching the kids while Andrew works. But when I'm in LA, I'm in LA and I'm making money for our family. So I relate somewhat because I did take a pay cut to move home. So I'm not making the same kind of money that I was when we were in LA and I was working full time. But I do have the feelings of a stay-at-home mom when I'm here. Like that, how hard it is, how demanding it is, how exhausting it is, how wonderful and fortunate. I mean, the whole dichotomy and the whole complicated web of what it means to be a stay-at-home mom, the good and the bad. And finances are interesting in our house because Andrew and I, when we got married, we very much decided you keep your own bank account like you always have. I'm going to keep mine. And then we're going to get a shared credit card where all of our mutual expenses go and we pay it off every month. So we do still have this independence where what I make is mine, what he makes is his, and then there's a shared account. But I'm not able to spend quite like I was before. And that's hard. You know, it's
Yeah.
hard. And I think that when you're a stay-at-home mom and you quit working altogether and all of a sudden, I would never want to have to ask permission because you are doing the hardest job in the world by watching the children at home. And there should be an understanding that the money that is being brought in is very much 50-50, belongs to both. But I want to know how you feel because I feel like you can speak to this probably even better than I can.
Yeah. So I, like you, really focused on career and I was making a nice amount of money, living my dream, having a paycheck. And so when Jason and I were first dating, yeah, like we obviously both, paid for stuff and had our money. And I wouldn't think twice about like, oh, I need to go and get an outfit for this, or I need to pay my rent, or I need to buy something for the house, like whatever it was. Even like our furniture in this home, like in this room, I purchased it. Like Jason
Mhm.
thought it was like so cool that like we went and picked out furniture for this home. And I was like, this is my dream bed. This is my dream dresser. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I'm not a big spender. So I want to start with that. I am not, I have always been very frugal. I think that's like part of my upbringing is like I've seen money come and go, and I don't think it equates to happiness,
Mhm.
but I'm very cautious about spending a lot.
Yes.
That being said, when I became pregnant with Kaya, I also stopped working. And I have very much been like a stay-at-home mom since then. And so we make a little money on this podcast.
Mhm.
Please support this podcast,
Yeah.
share it with a friend. It would be very helpful
Help
financially.
us. Yes.
Um, but my paycheck went away. And so we, I'm very much in the mindset of like, and Jason too, when you become married, it's our money. And that is what marriage is. It's you're a team. It is not, and I respect how other people do it, but like it's very much, we had this conversation, I think, like with our parents too, like his parents and my parents, like you're a team. This is your money. What you are doing in the home is the hardest job. And the job really that I'm so grateful I get to do. I don't want other people raising my kids, and I understand that is a luxury. I understand that that is not everybody's circumstance. And also that that is not what everyone wants. Like I'm very aware of that. But for me, like yes, it's demanding and yes, I'm frustrated, especially at night sometimes, but also like I'm so grateful like I get to put my kids to bed every single night. I get to choose what they're eating every single day. I get to have that like emotional bond connection with them like almost every minute. And now Kaya's in school half days, a couple of days a week. And I do have help. I want to be very honest about that. I have help 10 hours a week or something like that, 10 to 14 hours a week. So I can do things like this, like I can do
Mhm.
the podcast and I can go grocery shopping sometimes just
You
on my
can
own.
do
And
your Pilates.
I can go to have a workout class, like mental health. And so I think, it's hard. Yes, it's hard not having a paycheck. And at first it was so hard for me. Like I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And I think it really was Jason being like, this is our money. This is us. He's like, whatever you need, like get it. If the girls need clothes, like don't think twice. Grocery shopping, like you're in charge of that. Like get what we need to get for the week. Amazon, like get what we need to get for the week. And I think you need to have those conversations with your partners. And like it is uncomfortable. Like it was so uncomfortable for me. Yeah.
You're talking about groceries and things that are needed for the family, but like let's say you want to get a dress. Like you just want
Yeah.
to treat yourself and get like some new clothes. How does that work? Do you talk to Jason about it before you do
No,
it? You
no,
just do it. Okay.
because he
Because
just
that's the
does it.
thing. I would never want to have to ask permission. I would hate that.
I think at first I felt really uncomfortable about
Mhm.
it. And now we very much, it's kind of fun because like we'll be like, we need new clothes and we will go together and like get some new things. Or like we have family photos coming up like we talked about. So I went and like got a bunch of things and I'm gonna return whichever ones we don't wear. But he's like, okay, what are we wearing? Like it's not a thing anymore because it is our money. And I think so many of us need to realize that when we get married, we are a team. I think that's
Mhm.
the same thing when we're fighting. Like we are on the same team. When we're spending, we are on the same team. When we are making decisions about our children, where to spend the holidays, like I know it can be a battle sometimes, like, well, we did your family last year, we did this. No, we are a unit, we are a team, and that goes financially as well. And I firmly, firmly believe that.
Yeah.
And I think it would be the other way around too. Like if I was the breadwinner, I would want Jason to feel comfortable because he's doing so much. Like
Hmm.
I think there's give and take in all relationships, but I really believe, yes, it's a hard thing to wrap our heads around, especially when we're so used to like making our own money.
Hmm.
But like when you become a team, like you signed up for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to have that conversation. And it shouldn't be like an uncomfortable thing. Like, can I buy a t-shirt? Can I buy a new dress? Like,
Yeah. Well,
no, I think know what our budget is, know what we're
yeah.
bringing in every month. Don't be irresponsible.
I feel like a lot of, people listening, there are tight budgets. So there might
Yeah,
actually be a need to ask, like, can we afford for me to go and get XYZ? I just want to make that clear. I understand that that's a
totally.
thing.
Yeah.
I think when you have this like financial autonomy and it's like very much your own money, you don't have to ask permission. You're aware everything is. But I do think the best thing couples can do is just have very regular check-ins about the budget, about where you stand, about what's coming in, about what's being saved, where money is going. And like, I will say Andrew is the fiscally responsible one in our relationship. He is so good about you know, taking care of the bills and all these things. But I had this moment where I was like, you do all of that, and God forbid the worst thing happens. I am fucked because I don't know how to
Same.
pay our mortgage. Like, I don't know how to do all, I
I
like
know.
that. He handles that. I'm saying this as someone who's currently having this aha moment of we really need to be extremely transparent about our finances and where everything goes, even though we have our own way of doing it in our house. Just
Hmm.
like knowing and being really in
I
tune with
think
one another, I think is so important. And really, as a woman too, just like we should feel empowered by our finances.
And that's the thing, it's not a universal thing. Everyone's circumstances and the way that they feel about this are totally different. And I love that. I love that. I think we
Mhm.
should all do what makes us feel the most comfortable and happy. And I also do things like we have like an Airbnb rental, for example, that like I'm in charge of that. And Jason would agree, like I'm better suited for that.
Mhm.
And so I just think, it all comes back to again working as a team. If you guys are new here and you haven't listened to our husband episode, I would go back. We had Andrew and Jason on the podcast and we actually talked about this,
Yeah.
like spenders in the relationships and how we handle that. And I think you guys might learn a lot about our husbands.
And a little backstory, I thought I was going into labor during that episode. So if you happen to watch it, just know that is what is happening on my face. Potential labor. I was like a
Yeah.
minute from giving birth.
Yeah. I'm very curious about everyone listening. Like, how do you guys handle finances in your relationships?
Yeah.
Let us know. I know it's different for everyone. So I'm
Yeah.
just curious. I'm like, do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel comfortable? Like, what is your stance?
Yeah. And I do want to give a minute to give props to Jason because I don't think everyone is as lucky as you are to have a man who understands the hard work it takes to be a stay-at-home mom. And I do feel for women who have given up their careers in order to be the one at home with the kids and are feeling like they've lost that financial independence and they're struggling with it. We see you, and I know that's really, really hard. So you're
And
hearing from someone who has like the best case scenario.
well, and I was
Yeah.
gonna say the other thing is we have a guest coming on, and she said this. We pre-recorded the episode. I think it airs in like 2 weeks. But if you have a dream and you are a stay-at-home mom, don't give up your dreams. Like there is still room for you to have dreams and to start your own thing and to, when the kids are napping, I know it sucks. And I know there's that like, should I work out? Should I do laundry? Should I prep food? Should I start my own business? Should I work on my own business? Like, you should do things that make you happy and that make you feel like you're checking things off your to-do list so like the mental load becomes a little bit easier. But if you have any sort of itch to start something of your own,
Hmm.
do it.
Yeah.
Do it. That is also why we started this podcast, was so that we could help provide for our families. And this really scratches that itch in a multitude of ways. It's
Yeah.
like for financial purposes, for mental health purposes, for connection, so
Yeah.
that other moms might hear what we're talking about and feel like, oh my gosh, me too. And maybe they don't have that community and they can be part of this community. And I think, I just want to say, if you feel inspired, follow that inspiration. That was a long way of saying
Amen.
that.
I love it.
Oh.
But let's talk about our next thing, Cardi B. She was recently on Jay Shetty's On Purpose podcast, and she talked really openly and got super vulnerable. I mean, we know Cardi for being funny and having these one-liners and like keeping it light, but she really opened up about feeling the quote love dying near the end of her marriage to Offset. And of course, they share children together. And she talked about how emotional that unraveling was, especially because she was pregnant. And she described what so many moms experience quietly. And it's this like deep sense of isolation and uncertainty about the future. And she admitted that the thoughts of raising her baby alone and losing her partnership, it like all kind of spiraled into depression. And now people are really applauding her for talking about that because it's not often talked about and it actually has a name, prenatal depression. And it's depression when you are pregnant. A lot of people talk about postpartum depression. Obviously, more and more people are getting comfortable talking about that. You and I have both experienced bouts of that and have been very open about that. But a lot of people don't talk about prenatal depression because the symptoms that you experience in depression kind of mirror pregnancy symptoms, like feeling tired and having mood swings and like sleep changes and all of these things that just are normal, quote, in pregnancy. Perinatal is the combination of prenatal and postpartum depression. And between those two, it affects 1 in 7 women. So it's incredibly common and people are really applauding her. And Katie, you have actually talked to Cardi, you've interviewed her before. If you've never watched those interviews with Katie, just Google Katie Krause and Cardi B and they'll come up. They're so good. And she was so open to you. So I'm curious how you feel about this, having talked to Cardi in the past and just as a mom now yourself.
I've said this before. I love Cardi B and I love her honesty with everything. I think
Yeah.
it's so refreshing and I think it's really relatable.
Hmm.
I think that, again, in women's health, so much of what we're feeling is overlooked or it's dubbed normal. So like when we're pregnant and we're feeling all these emotions and we're teary and we're up and we're down, and I think we should look at that more.
Yeah.
And I think I probably had that too, because your body's changing and you're growing a human and you start having all these thoughts like, oh my gosh, I am responsible for this baby that's growing inside of me now. And I'm sure there's like a lot of anxiety and like excitement and fear
Hmm.
and love that's hard to even describe at times. And so I think that that's like such a normal thing that we should be normalizing more. I don't know. We
Yeah.
say this like every week, like hormones are so real.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
hormones that come with pregnancy and with um when you're with pregnancy and then also postpartum, like I don't think our body ever goes through more of like hormone ups and downs than during that time in our life. I think that's
ooh.
like scientifically proven at this point. And so I think we should examine that and we should feel our things. And I wish that more partners to pregnant women were more aware of this. Like that's what I think we need the most is like for partners to understand like this is normal. Your wife or your girlfriend or whoever is not like doing this on purpose. Like hormones are real.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
we are up and we're down and it changes us and it breaks us wide open and we you need to be aware of that. Like so many marriages, I read this thing that like they fail in the first 7 years of being postpartum because I think partners don't understand how much like change and hormone fluctuations are happening.
Hmm.
And we need to be more cognizant and more aware of that.
There's, part of me is like, I feel for men because they can't know. They will never
Yeah.
know. They'll never be able to experience it. But I do think there's this responsibility to do the research, to
Hmm.
try to understand as best as humanly possible. I totally agree. But what I really love about this is when people who are in the public eye feel comfortable or brave enough to speak out, it like reduces stigma and it makes it more acceptable for other people to feel like they can admit that they're struggling. I think that being vulnerable is actually a strength, and women need to feel empowered to ask for help, to be able to say, this is really hard and I'm struggling, and not suffer in silence and be able to get the help that they deserve. No matter where you are in life, if you are pregnant, postpartum, without children, wherever you are, like women just need to be able to feel like they don't have to suffer in silence. We've done that long enough. And I just think when people like Cardi B, who have all the money resources in the entire world, feel comfortable enough to say, like, I have everything going for me and I'm having a hard time, why shouldn't we be able to do the exact same? So,
Amen.
Cardi, thank you for doing the Lord's work. We love you.
Yeah.
Come on our podcast, girl. Let's
Yeah.
talk mommy things.
This is your official invite.
Yes, do it. We
Please,
love you so
please.
much. We're obsessed with you.
I think too, the more, and then we'll end, but like the more we've talked about postpartum depression and
Mhm.
anxiety, it's like normalized it so much more as opposed to like generations ago where it wasn't talked about.
Yeah.
And I think, a couple weeks ago, like we had a guest on and we talked about the rise of postpartum depression and like women feeling like they have to do it all themselves and like they
Mhm.
don't have the village that they thought they were going to have. And
That
again,
was
yeah,
Brandy Jordan. She was amazing. A doula. Go listen to that episode if you haven't. She was a treat.
yeah, totally.
Anyway, we're so
So,
happy you guys have tuned in. Thank you for being part of our community, a place where we can come to be honest about what we're going through. We hope that you feel like you can do the same with us without feeling judged, to feel safe. We like to say motherhood is a sisterhood. And thank you for being part of ours.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Between Us Moms.
don't forget to follow us for more mom life conversations and content, and subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.
And if you liked this episode, send it to a mom friend.
You know, she'll get it too.
See you next time.